Welcome to Josh's Green Garage. So this video going to be slightly different, but something I think a lot of people have a question about, a lot of people wonder about, and some people may be completely undecided. A quick reminder before we get started, I recently started a Facebook page for Josh's Green Garage, so I encourage you, go in there, like it. You can see anything that I may be getting into. I'll put some sneak peeks on there. I also have links to my eBay page on there where I'm selling decals, diesel decals, V-twin decals for pretty much any of the John Deere mowers. I have a V-twin engine. Some other ones for the 700 series. I also have plans for a couple of my projects. But it's a good little page, trying to get that going. I may be building some of my weight brackets for the 200 series. So if you're interested in something like that, I'm going to be posting those on eBay. And when I do post them, I'll update it on there. It's going to be a first come, first serve type thing. Whenever I do get those built, there's no set date or time that I'm going to build them though. But yeah, just want to throw that out there. Make sure everybody's aware. So today we are going to talk about tires for your lawn and garden tractor. So as I said, this can leave a lot of people wondering on what the best kind of tire is, or if a certain kind of tire is good for my yard or not good for my yard. So what I have here is 4 different types of tires that you're going to most commonly probably see amongst all the different lawn and garden tractors out there, including just riding lawn mowers, stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is just go through each one of them. I'm going to tell you which ones these are, and then I'll even post in some other brands and models of each tire, so you kind of get an idea of what's out there, what you can look for. So we're going to start out. I got 2 turf tires here. I got ag tires, and I got what would be known as an HTAP tire, heavy duty all purpose. So let's move in a little closer and we'll talk about turf tires. We have here 2 different types of turf tires. One of them is going to be very common, and then one is going to be more common on some of your higher end mowers. So we'll start out with the one down here. This is probably going to be your most common style that you're going to see in turf tire. It's very basic. You're going to find it on all your value end mowers, anything from the big box stores, that kind of thing. You're also going to find this on like different little tow behind carts, any kind of tow behind implement that might use a pneumatic tire. All sorts of stuff, yard related, you might find a tire like this. This one specifically is a Carlisle Turf Saver.
Some similar models of turf tires is going to be the D-Stone 265. You can see same basic chevron pattern. We got this brand, is called High Run. I'm not sure what the actual model of this tire is, but this is going to be probably one of your cheaper versions of this type of tire. So it'd be great if you're just looking for a quick replacement, or honestly, I mean, it's a lawn or garden tractor. It doesn't need any kind of ridiculous tire. If you're looking for this tread pattern, there's no need to spend a ton of money. This one is the Kenda K358. There again, same chevron pattern. I don't want to go too big into sizes or plies for sidewall or tread or whatever, but a lot of times, like you'll see these on the lower end mowers, you'll see like 2-ply, but some of these will actually surprise me. I was seeing a couple of them were going up to like 6, 8, 10-ply.
But essentially these tires are marketed as obviously that a turf saver tire, whatever. It's supposed to be good for the lawn. Now, this can be argued because, well, if we look at the tread, it's flat, it doesn't have a lot of gripping surfaces on it, it's pretty hard, it doesn't give a lot, there's no room in the tread for it to give it all. So realistically, if you have, a completely flat yard, you don't have any hills, dips, ditches, anything like that, if it's primarily dry where you're at, or you make sure to mow when it's completely dry, which generally you do want to mow when it's dry. You don't want to mow when the grass is too wet. But something like this could end up slipping on the yard. So my thought and opinion on it is something like this, not the greatest because of that slippage. You know, if you're going up a slight hill, it's a little bit wet or whatever. You know, this tire might slip and it might start to kind of chew up the grass. It might rip some out. Um, Personally, I have had these tires slip in my yard. I was mowing with my D105. These tires, you know, I had this type of tire on that. As I was cutting it, you know, the grass was getting a little bit more and more wet, so it started slipping. You know, trying to mow up, you know, where my septic tank area was and everything, where the little mound was. So I don't know that this is the greatest style around. Now, if we move over to this type, this is going to be what you're going to find on a lot of your higher end lawn and garden tractors. You know, of course, you can put this on anything, it's a tire, but you're going to find these primarily, you know, I'll relate it to John Deere. If you're getting a John Deere, you're going to find this on the 300 series, you're going to find it on the 500 series, and on the 700 series. You can actually even get tires similar to this on like bigger subcompact tractors and different stuff like that if you're interested in a turf tire. Now something like this I would say is going to be quite a bit better. I have not run a tire like this on the rear yet. The 580 that I had these tires on the front, and I also got tires like this for the front on my 210 here. This one specifically is a Carlisle Multitrack CS.
Other types of tires for you know, this range of tire, you know, the higher end turf tire is going to be the D-Stone D838. So you know, you can see same, you know, similar style tread, same little bits of siping in there. You know, there's nothing crazy to speak of, just another version. We have here the Carlisle Turfmaster. So this is the tire that I got as a replacement for the Turf Saver, or the, what was it, Turf Saver CS2 or whatever was on my 210. So I think this is just like a newer version, but that's what that has, and I'm pretty sure that's what was on the front of my X580. This is the high run version of this tire. There again, same tread pattern. This is, I actually really liked this tire looking it up. This is a Kenda K500 Super Turf. So this tire was actually, if I didn't like Carlisle so much, I would probably go with these. This tire, you can see, kind of has like a double siping there in each tread block. So that's going to probably give quite a bit. And this tire is also available in like probably every size known to man. Obviously, don't quote me on that. But there was a very large array of tires, even anything bigger than you're going to find a garden tractor with. There was up in like the 33 size range. So pretty much anything you can think of, you'd be able to find this tire for. This is the Kenda K513. This is more along that standard single sipe tread block. Nothing crazy there.
But these are a pretty good type of tire. As far as like, you know, the tread, they look a bit more aggressive. They have quite a bit more biting surfaces, just with the geometry of the tread itself. And then you can also see there's a little bit of siping in there. So that kind of helps give that tread, you know, a little bit of room to move around and kind of, you know, grip the ground, you know, and grip around things a little bit better. So I don't think you're going to really find a whole lot of spinning with this like you would this, you know, if the grass is wet or anything like that. So I did get this kind of tire for the front of my 210 when I replaced tires on it. It's a different one of the Carlisle tires, but you know, I was happy with these on the 580. They didn't dig into the ground or anything like that, but I do think it's a very good tire for at least the front. I would imagine it'd be great for the back, but I think there's something a little bit better for the back. Now what we have here is known as an HDAP tire. It stands for heavy duty all purpose. So this is the kind of tire that honestly I don't think you're really going to find on too many mowers out there, other than the highest end of the John Deere lawn and garden tractors, or more so garden tractors. You'll find these on their 500 series and on their 700 series. They don't come standard on any of the others, and I honestly don't know that too many other manufacturers put this tire on as standard equipment. But this one specifically is a CST Field Tracks.
Now, if you're looking for a different type of HDAP tire, you're not really going to be finding these in the lawn and garden section of different brands' websites or anything. This is going to be more of an ATV style tire, so definitely look there. So the ones on the 758 there, that's the CST brand, but this one is the Carlisle HD Field Tracks. So this is what came stock on my X580. These will also come on X590s, depending on how they're ordered. But this, this was a great tire. Definitely recommend those. And then this is the Kenda version, the K502. So there again, similar kind of tread, a little bit different looking. But tire like this, I don't think you're gonna see too often. Like I said, ATV style tires, pretty much anything can work as an HTAP style tire if it's an ATV tire, just as long as it's not too ridiculously aggressive. You still want it to be fairly flat, just not too bitey. You don't want too much empty space between lugs, or something with smaller tread and a lot of space is going to start digging in a lot. Bar tread's a little different, because you kind of get quite a bit of flotation with each lug.
And it is very similar to the Carlisle ones that came on the X580 that I had. Why they use a different brand on, the 700 series, I don't know. But regardless, they both look very, very similar, and they both perform very, very well. Now, the better turf tire that I showed you, that smaller one there, that more premium version, grip's a bit better, but I think for the rear of your tractor, you're going to want something more like this. These tires, I have not had to slip at all. I have mowed a very overgrown yard, and then mowing around the septic tank area. Let's see, it was near the end of fall. The ground was really wet. Grass was, still wet from morning dew, and it was primarily shaded all day, so it doesn't even really have a chance to evaporate. It was a pretty cool day. So I didn't really have a choice, and it was one of my buddies. They needed the yard cut, but the 580 was able to walk right up their septic tank mound, no problem, not a single slip. Didn't even have to use diff lock. These tires, they look aggressive. People are gonna think that they're gonna damage a yard, but I don't really think you're gonna get too much yard damage with these. You have all this extra biting surface. The tread is much deeper. They give a lot more. It's a bit squishier of a compound. This tire just does really well, in really all conditions. I've used this tire in all conditions, including pushing snow. Did that once or twice. They're great in snow. So, if you're using your machine for winter times, plowing or snow blowing, definitely a good option if you're wondering. But with that, there are some instances that I could see this damaging a yard. When you get into something this aggressive, you need to be careful if your yard is newly planted and not extremely full yet, or if you have areas where the grass is really light, it isn't, completely grown in. So if you have any light areas and you're doing turns, it may kind of dig the ground just a little bit, but nothing that's not gonna, disappear in a couple days or the next time it rains or anything like that. There are a couple spots around some trees in my yard where the grass doesn't grow quite as well, and if I do a circle around the tree, I can see a bit of a circle around it, but it's nothing alarming to me. So if you have a very well established yard, you're not gonna have any issue with a type of tire like this. So these are really good. I love them, but say you're doing, some heavy gardening, heavy plowing, anything like that, and you really want a good tire. Let's take a look at something else. And these are ag tires. So this is the kind of tread pattern that you're gonna find on the bigger agricultural tractors. Any kind of heavy equipment like that. Um, they have very large, long block tread, very wide open spaces to eject any kind of mud or anything like that. And if you're really looking for the traction, this is it. These tires specifically are Carlisle True Powers.
So if you're looking for some other ag or bar tread style tires, this one is the D-Stone D405 tractor tire. There again, it's pretty basic. You can see the side of the lugs don't look quite as aggressive as what the Carlisle True Power does. It's slightly more rounded, but still, going to be an aggressive tire. These are fairly common, it seems, for people to look into. So this one is below the Carlisle True Power. This is the Carlisle Super Lug. You can see it's labeled there better, the True Power being best. This looks like a True Power for the most part. Along the center line, the rib along the center line is just a little bit different. This one's more squared. The True Power kind of has like a rounded angle, and then it looks like there's a bit more space. It looks like there's less bar treads on this. This one is the Power Track. This one they have labeled as good. Also, again, a Carlisle tire. The Power Track, that looks quite a bit like the True Power. I don't know what would be too much different between the two, but that's just another option. Now this is one that, definitely would be a bit easier on turf. It even talks there in the description about how it has tapered corners. So you can see they're rounded off quite a bit, and then the actual depth of the bar is quite a bit less. So with a tire like this, you're going to get that traction you want, but I definitely don't think you'll have to worry about ripping too much ground up with that. That's, it says there it's designed for 0 turns and stuff, so that tire, I think, if you did still have any kind of concern but wanted an ag tire or something like that, probably do you pretty good. This one is the high run version. So I actually really contemplated these tires for quite a while. Believe it or not, you can get these through Lowe's on their website. And also I was on a work trip down to Fort Worth, Texas, and I decided to stop into Tractor Supply there, and they actually had these there. So a tire like this probably going to be readily available in any kind of farm supply store or anything like that. You could probably find these around. So availability all over. I think Walmart at one point probably had them on their website. It's just whether or not they're being carried at different places. But so I was really looking at those. I think in the end I ended up getting the True Powers for the 210 anyway. I ended up finding the True Power on Amazon at a pretty good price that would ship here for nothing. So I was pretty excited about that. So I just decided to spend a little bit extra and go with the Carlisles. But yeah, I would definitely look at these high runs if you're looking for an ag tire but don't want to get a ton of money tied up into them. I think this is going to be a really good pick for you. I mean, they look aggressive. It doesn't look like the edges of the tread block taper off too much. So definitely going to paddle through some dirt for you. This one is the Kenda K359. So this one actually had smaller sizes. So if you were doing something like a riding lawnmower, not any kind of lawn and garden tractor, you're gonna wanna maybe look at this one. The sizes just weren't that big to go on an actual lawn tractor. So this one, the K742 Kenda tire, this one had sizes more for your lawn tractors. Once you get into garden tractor size, I can't remember 100%, but I don't think they had sizes above maybe 22. They might have had 23s, I can't remember. But if you have something big, if you're into like an X700 type tractor, I don't think they had this tire sized for you. But you can see that one also does have the tapered edge blocks. So, that one I'd imagine would be pretty easy on your grass.
And I also have a set of these for my 700 tractor. They're awesome. The H-step tires do really well in snow. I wasn't sure how they were going to do, which is one of the reasons I wanted to get these. But I think either or you're going to be fine if you're looking at these for snow. But they do very well in snow, at least the type of snow that I have up here in Alaska. I don't know. Other people may complain if they run into issues with ice, stuff like that. These aren't going to be the greatest in the world on ice, just because there's not a lot of gripping surfaces other than like the fact that it's got that nice big tread block to dig into dirt and softer materials. But ice, there's just not enough here. Now, these tires, everyone, when they're looking at it for a lawnmower, may dismiss them right away. But I urge you not to. I was worried that these would dig into your yard just like anybody else would worry about it. And my mind and opinion on that quickly changed when I still had the ag tires on all four corners of my 700. And during springtime, the yard hadn't come back yet. But there was a ton of leaves from the previous fall still in the yard. I wanted to pick them up, so I ran my sweeper behind the 700. And, still ag tires, doing tight turns in the yard, and it was not digging up anything at all. So I was immediately like, okay, these tires are great. Like, I knew that when I had the 210 here, I wasn't sure if I wanted to go with an ag tire or if I wanted to go with, the higher end turf tire. And I really couldn't decide, but once that happened, like, I knew what I wanted to get. I knew that, I had to go with these because I want to use this for gardening one day too. So, rather than have to swap tires around on this like I do the 700, I'd rather just put ags on it and call it a day. Now, maybe, I've cut with this and I haven't had any issues, with it digging up the yard cutting, even with the wheel weights on, all that weight on it. Doesn't give me any issue in the yard. So pretty surprised there. Again, my yard for the most part is very well established. New yard, again, just like the H-step tire, I would not recommend probably using this on a new yard. I would wait till it grows in full, to where there's not a lot of dirt that you can see through the grass. Like, you want it to be a full yard. But something like this, I don't think you're going to get to spin going up any kind of hill. So if you have a property with lots of hills, or like I said, you have a property that, the grass is shaded most of the time, so any dew stays for most of the day, something like this is going to be perfect for you. So, I'm here to say right now, this tire or the H-step tire is going to probably be your best bet for any purpose out there. I honestly wouldn't even bother with turf tires. On the front, obviously that's fine, but for your drive wheels, or if you have a four-wheel drive machine, obviously you'll want to include your drive wheels. But for rear wheels of any tractor, I would definitely recommend an H-step style, which kind of is a four-wheel tire, or go to an ag tire. I think they're going to do great for you, and I honestly think you'd be surprised how little damage that they really do. If you're running a locker, that's a little bit different. It'll do some damage then, but these tractors all have a differential. They're really only ever one-wheel driving. So, your wheels are going to move at different speeds. It's really not going to dig anything up. And that is my opinion on lawn and garden tractor tires and which ones I think is the best. Again, I definitely think the H-step and the ag tires are going to be your two greatest choices out there. Honestly, would not even bother with any of these two unless you have an extremely flat yard, don't have to worry about it being wet at all. Don't have any hills, then okay, go for something like this. It'll save the turf, but I think sometimes these can do more harm than good than something like this that won't have, I won't say won't slip, but won't have as high a chance of slipping. So I do want to also mention real quick that there are some crosses between some of these two. There are ag tires that have some more rounded edges. They're not going to be quite as aggressive. And then there's also one that's like a cross between these two tires. The Carlisle, I think it's the VersaTurf.
So it is the VersaTurf. This is the VersaTurf. You can see how it has, quite a bit of different tread blocks, but it also has kind of like a V-shaped tread pattern similar to an ag tire. So definitely a bit of a crossover type tire there. I guess these are becoming very popular. So that's, something also to consider.
It's essentially an ag tread like design, but you have more grooves in it like this. So it's not just straight up bar tread. It's a cross between the two. So, if you're worried that this is a bit too aggressive, you can still find something like this that's a little more aggressive. So you can do a cross there. And then I noticed I was at Lowe's and I saw one of their Craftsman mowers there actually had a tire like this one, but the shape of the tread blocks, it actually had a smaller shape like that kind of cut out of it. So that one I would imagine would be a fairly good tire too, because you have a more thin rubber surface around that tread block that can move a little bit. That difference in depth, is going to help bite in a little bit better. So that tire would actually be pretty good. A good bit better than this. But of course, that would be a cross between something like this and an HDAP style tire where you see, you got cutouts in this tread here. So
this is that tire that I saw on the one Craftsman tractor at Lowe's, Carlisle Turf Saver 2. You can see how, the center of those tread blocks is recessed a little bit, giving you, some extra biting surface. I would definitely look for something like this before looking for one that is just the regular solid chevrons. I think this is going to be a lot better for you. And here is the Kenda K382 Turf Pro. So this is just a similar tire to that one that I found, so I figured I'd include that just to give you another little option. Of course, with all these tires that I went over, of all the different styles, there's so many out here, or out there, I should say. You can't really show all of them. I'm not going to try to do that. But there's so many different brands, so many different people make lawn and garden tires. These are just a few to show you some different things. Like Kenda, I know, is a pretty big name. Carlisle, definitely a huge name. But I figured I'd throw the D-Stone in there. I see that come up on different Facebook groups a lot. I've seen it come up on forums. And then the High Run, like I said, I was looking at those. I was strongly considering them, and for the price, I figured I'd throw that in there, in case anybody didn't realize that, they were a fairly reasonably priced alternative to some of the higher end tires.
So there are a lot of tires out there. There, of course, is more than this. Like I said, these are just the most common that you're going to see amongst factory machines. And, if you get into garden tractors, you're going to see a lot of tires like this. So, yeah, that's all I got. Hopefully this was helpful if you're looking for new tires and just trying to find some opinions on what might be the best for you. If I didn't cover anything enough, please let me know. Really, you could go way more into depth, and I could probably talk way longer about all this. But I'll be honest, I tried making this video before, and when I tried editing it, I was boring myself to death. So I may be boring you guys to death. So I was trying to make this one a little bit more fun, some different angles, different things like that. So hopefully this was a little bit better. But as always, any questions, comments, please let me know. I definitely get back to everybody if I can. So yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good one.